Hey, how's it going, captains? Admiral Tori here, and welcome aboard for another World of Warships video on my channel. In today's video, I am selling the Tier 8 German battleship, the Bismarck. This gameplay is one of the many attempts of me trying to get a good gameplay with the Bismarck for my upcoming Bismarck video, which is coming out soon. So far, things are coming together pretty smoothly. I got the script done to the point where Admiral Tovey is chasing down Admiral Lucian's Bismarck in the Atlantic. So yeah, I gotta do some revision, reread the script, and add more stuff to it to the point where the Bismarck gets sunk in the battle. Aside from that, the script is just going pretty well. Just gotta do the commentary. Now, the other part of the video I need to do is trying to get some gameplay. So far, I only have one gameplay, and that gameplay is only, I think, 13 minutes long. Yeah, it's only 13 minutes long, but it's a pretty good gameplay. So I'm going to need like another 20 to 30 minutes worth of gameplay. And then I just have to put the video together with nice pictures from the particular battle, the people who are important in the battle, and all sorts of stuff, and ships. So yes, the Bismarck video is coming together as intended in the future, so I can get it uploaded as soon as possible. Now, this gameplay is one of the many attempts that I try to get a good gameplay with the Bismarck. And it's not really that good in terms of a game, but I managed to find ways to make things interesting, hopefully, because although this game wasn't that great, and this is one of those games where you just want to rant about, but people already done it, so people already stole the idea and reused it so many times, and people get the point that they enjoy watching people rant. I thought it'd be a great idea to talk about a more secular idea, and it relates to World of Warships and this gameplay. So the title of the video speaks for itself. Let us talk about greed. What is greed? Well, it's pretty clear that in our lives we see a lot of greed in this world. It's one of the many reasons why human beings are pretty corrupt at some point, but greed is no exception because greed is with us. Every one of us on this planet, every human being with a functional mind, at some point will have a greedy mind, or at least a greedy thought. The difference between everyone in human society being greedy and people in society that isn't greedy, although I specifically said that logically everyone on this planet who is a human being with a functioning mind is greedy, is that a greedy person will execute the actions that will pretty much pin them as greedy. A person who isn't greedy will be tempted to be greedy but refuses to do those actions. They will find alternative things to achieve what they want. So yes, that is the biggest difference between greed and a person who isn't greedy. Greed in general is something that you want to avoid, and most of the obvious greed are the vicious type of greed, okay? So when we talk about vicious, we see people, we hear like stories on news, stories from documentaries, where something like dictators will starve their own country for their own sake of power. People would steal money from other people because they want money. Some people even murder their own siblings or their family members or their spouse because they want money. We see it in the good old European medieval times where the brother would murder his older brother just to take the throne. Yeah, there's plenty of greed in this world. It's just a nasty part of our society. How does this deal with World of Warships? Well, World of Warships doesn't have vicious greed, is as I label it. World of Warships has, I would view as the subtle greed, and this greed isn't as as hurtful compared to the other greeds, because the other greed, the vicious greed, is obviously harmful. Someone's being affected by it, which is why it's more obvious to our eyes, and we just don't like that. Hopefully, as a human being, we don't like that idea. Unless everyone thinks it's all right to be greedy at each other, then really I can't really trust anybody on this planet. In World of Warships, you'll notice that in the chat, and focus the mini-map at the same time, but in the chat, there's going to be a division where there's two people in this division. One's playing the Iowa, one's playing the Montana. They are spamming the chat with pinging the map, asking us to capture a flag, and it sounds that they're very supportive. They want to constructively win the game by forming a plan, and that's nice. My team begins the match saying that we're going to take the B and C flag. logically you would split your team 50-50. 50 go to B and 50 go C. In this case, it's more like 5% went to B because the 5% who spawned near B would go to B. So I was one of the few who actually supported my Yugumo taking the B flag, and the 90 to 95% went to C. And this is pretty common in World of Warships. What is wrong with it? Well, let's just continue what I'm trying to point out here. The people who are being supportive in the chat, the division, and now it's not just like me pointing out them, but what they're doing. I'm more concerned with what they're doing than who they are. But what they're doing is that although it seems supportive, the reality is that these two are actually manipulating the team for their own sake. And I know it's crazy when I say that, but as you watch the game progresses, you can see the subtle greed starts to build up. But it's just not these people. You see, greed is pretty bad to the point in World of Warships, to a point where it's actually normal to be greedy. And that goes back to a philosopher named Kant. He talks about our duty as human beings, because if society views, if murdering someone is okay the first time, then society will eventually view that murdering someone would be normal, which is way out of the world in our society today, which is good. But actually, back in the day, murdering someone is actually alright at some point when we were barbarians, if I put it that way. Because remember when we used to do an eye for an eye punishment? Today, that's not the case anymore. Back in the days before the internet, before the television, before radio, there's a lot of atrocities that have been happening because we weren't exposed to it, and that was normal back in the day. Today, when you see a sufficient amount of people, whether, in terms of the magnitude compared to back in the day, it's just nowhere compared. Today is awful. It's viewed as the worst thing that you can do, and it will always live with you forever if you ever perform these actions. So, in this case, it's actually normal to be greedy on World of Warships, and this particular game is a perfect example in the higher tiers, because high tiers is always where you find the greedy people. Look at the map. Why did we stack C when most of the enemy is already spotted near B and A? Especially when we have carriers in the game that have already scouted the enemy team. We already know where we should be going. We're trying to engage the enemy, but yet majority of the team goes to C on my team. Enemy team is searching for a spot that is pretty much far away from us, so they went A. They all stack A, and at some point they went back to B, but they're still not near C where most of my team's at, and we can clearly see them. Why is that the case? And the answer is simple. We are greedy at the higher tiers. When we think of, high tier player, when people get, high tier in terms of being the top tier player in the game. So if you're tier 8 in the tier 6 matchmaking, you have a high expectation of being at the top of the leaderboard. That's what people expect. And, people just don't understand this, but just because you're in the high tiers does not make you automatically, expected to do well. There's going to be people who at lower tiers, the underdogs, are going to be at the top of the leaderboard at some point. And when I talk about the leaderboard, a lot of people think that being at the top of the leaderboard means something to them. And it does. It does mean something to them, but not us. Because World of Warships is built on the foundation of team-based game. So when someone tries to connect their views or their values, they want to absolutely believe in their values, which is referred as self-confirmation bias, which means that you're searching for the answer to answer your own particular, problem. So people are searching for the answers of they want to be the top of the leaderboard, and when they are on the top of the leaderboard, they truly believe that being at the top of the leaderboard can justify the reason that they shouldn't lose the game. And you know the trend here. When you're at the top of the leaderboard, you see people complain about how their team is awful, this and that. And yet they realize that this is a team-based game. So, in the high tiers, most people have the tendency to search for the top of the leaderboard. Now, like me and everyone else on World of Warships, to me, it's just nice to be at the top leaderboard. I have never really cared about being at the top of the leaderboard. I only care about finding good games, which is why I even, post games that are of, in terms of me trying to post some games, I post games that are constructive, entertaining, but normally when entertaining comes to the mind, it's probably like 80 to 90% of the games where I get to the top leaderboard. But there's been videos that I made that I wasn't at the top leaderboard, but there was something else in the video that means something to me to upload to YouTube. So people, not everyone's the same, and a lot of people look for the top of the leaderboard. So to answer the question to why people obviously picked the seaside of flag, even though we didn't spot that many enemies, and the enemy team all huddled up together at like the safest spot of the map, it's the reason that they're greedy. Okay, it's subtle greed. Remember, this is normal to be greedy at higher tiers. It's very subtle. It isn't harmful, but it's a personal problem to me because I don't like the way World of Warships is being in terms of the high tiers. I have always despised higher tier gameplays because of this particular reason. The reason why people are playing very passive, the reason why people are finding the safest spot on the map is because how can you be at the top of the leaderboard if you're dead? So, what people like to do that I hate is that they bait their teammates like me who's trying to make an effort to capture the flag, help my destroyers take the flag, and they expect me to do something. Remember when I was talking about beginning match, those division mates just ping the map, telling us that we're gonna take this flag, and it sounds very supportive. Well, they're actually using us. They're actually making us, they're baiting us to being at the front lines, do the dirty work, and once we die, they come in and clean up for the kill. And in this case, in this game, you've noticed the enemy teams, not just our team, but the enemy team also. Those guys are doing the exact same tactic as us. Finding the safest part of the map, and in hopes of somebody going to be pushing the front lines. It's like World War I all over again, right? The first person to peek in the trenches is going to die. And for some odd reason, the British just could not figure out why they couldn't push the lines. Obviously, in World War I, the reason why the war started is because they wanted to test new technology, right? Okay, to be more precise, World War I started because someone assassinated the Archduke and all sorts of crazy things happened, and their friends declared war on each other, and it was like a gang war. Like, literally gang war in 1914. So, yeah, look at this. Just look at this gameplay. Those two battleships, the Iowa and Montana, look how far they are. They sacrifice nothing. And yet, I'm here trying to push the front lines. Now, I was hoping to push the A flag, but I decided to disengage because I don't have a repair party. At the same time, I was hoping for my friendly battleships to push up with me, but it wasn't sufficient enough after spotting that Lexington. Because if I push in there, look at the map. The enemy team is just right around the corner. The moment I try to take the flag, they're just going to deny the capture zone by resetting the capture indicator. And yeah, it's pointless to take A, so I decided to pull off. I was hoping for the cruisers to pull off, but they were determined to take the A flag, unfortunately. So I felt pretty bad about that decision. But the point is, it's not about me trying to like point out, oh, these players are doing bad. Look at them. Look at their full health. What I'm trying to say here, okay? And like I said, I just don't like the idea of this, but it can't be stopped since it's normal to be greedy at the higher tiers. When you do something like this, sometimes you just don't realize it. Like I said, it's very subtle greed. And I enjoy doing these type of videos because it's one of those unique things that you can learn from. I even watch my own videos and wonder what I do wrong, what I try to improve by myself. I even make mistakes myself. I'm not the greatest person out there who's perfect at everything, but it's one of those things that we can enjoy to watch and learn something from it, not just playing the game. But this doesn't really just apply to the game. We do things in real life that are subtly greedy or at least selfish. I was talking to my friend the other day, the other day, and he was talking about how there's people out there that do these nasty things, and it's just inevitable that the world is the way it is. It's the reality. And look at this. Look at Montana. Look at the map for a second. Montana just said that let's go capture the B flag, if I recall correctly in the chat, because I think he said some time ago. So I had so much trust in him to push up with his his nice armor, his tier 10 battleship armor. But then he pulls the biggest prank in the world in this game and says, psych, I'm gonna U-turn and let you die. While I'm trying to make an effort to capture the B flag in order to win, because if you notice this entire game, both teams are so greedy that we actually even out, because if the enemy team actually pushes the flag more aggressively, they would have won the game right away. It would have been a game, one of those games where you just win by a landslide. Enemy team has 3 flags and we just get picked off one by one. And eventually someone will yell at their team being crap. But yeah, the point is that look at this Montana. He's making that U-turn, like unbelievable. He's telling me to capture a flag and make the U-turn. And it's one of those players who set a back of map, like I said, bait their team, after a team does a lot of damage and they die, they come in with their full fresh ship and clean up the kill and be at the top leaderboard and try and grab the glory. I just don't like those type of people when they pull this type of stuff off. But then again, I have no rights to judge someone's, gameplay, because everyone in this game has the freedom to do whatever they want within good reasons. But if you're wanting to win, at the same time you're doing things that are not winning, like in terms of trying to help us win, then obviously you should be blamed for it. But back to the point, yeah, my friend, he works at retail and he talks about how he meets a lot of customers who are just doing nasty things, and those are the obvious things, but sometimes people do very subtle things that they don't realize that can harm other people. I worked at Office Max, okay? I used to work at Office Max, and I remember one time when I think it was like 2 weeks before I quit the job, because I was trying to go full steam ahead with school. But there was this one customer, and he came in. He asked me about this type of product, and if you work in retail, if you actually ask the manager or ask the sales associates or anybody who's higher up enough, you can potentially get a discount within good reasons. And one of the common ways to do is that if the package is open, you can ask for a discount. Well, this guy was shady. He was extremely shady. And he basically asked me, hey, can I get a discount because this little wrap notebook, this little wrap pad book had, wrap around it, but there's a little hole on it. And I wasn't there to, see him pick these type of notebooks. I was like on the other aisle. Gosh, my words are not coming out correctly. I was on the other aisle, and I noticed he was there, but something's telling me that he actually ripped the hole himself, and he wanted to, get the discount. It's unbelievable how people pull these type of bullshit on you, but I talked to him. Okay, I have to talk to my manager. I have no power or authority to give you the discount. And it sounds like he's, done talking to me, but I walked away. He's like, oh, okay. Or he stopped me from walking away. He's like, you sure I could get a discount? I was like I said, I specifically word for word say that I have no power to give discount. I can suggest you talk to the manager. And he took my word for it. But in life, we like to manipulate things, right? He manipulated my words. He went up to the front where you ring out the product, or at least check out the product. And he basically said that to the person who's working on the register, this person, one of your sales associate, told me that I can get a complete discount because this little piece is wrapped. And he was arguing with him. He's like, you know what? It doesn't really justify that just because this little piece is, it's torn up. But he said, no, your sales associate was 100% guaranteed that I can get a discount on this, and you can call him up for it. Basically, he's manipulating the story and making me look really awful. And like I said, people don't realize the harmful effect. Luckily, the people I work with, they know who I am. They know I'm not the person who would do something like that. I'm not a person who likes to say things that are like without any consequence, because I actually thought through it. I like to think before I talk about the particular subject. It will only make sense to be rash, not rash, reasonable, but don't be rash, because some people are just rash about things. They just rush out their words. So because I know for a fact that if I don't be, specific enough, I could be liable for it, and my coworkers know I'm pretty fluent with what I'm thinking. So the sales not sales associate, but the person who's working on the counter up in the registers, he said that he said my name, and he's basically saying, yeah, he wouldn't do this thing. But the customer continues to argue, and normally the customer have the higher chance of winning the battle, because customers have the rights to do whatever they want in the store, but we have the rights to kick them out if they do something really dumb. But yes, they gave him the discount. But that isn't really the moral of the story when it comes to me, complaining about how this guy's a douchebag. Basically, this guy completely ignores what he's saying. He doesn't think what he's saying. He cares about his own goal, and that is to get a discount on that particular product. And what really bothers me about that situation is not because I have beef with this guy. It's because he wants the discount, a couple cents of discount that could have jeopardized my job. Now, yes, I was going to quit the job anyways because I was trying to work on school, but just imagine if you're working at a store and someone manipulates the story and say bad things about you, and they're the customer, which has a higher chance of, winning the case in terms of argument because customers always win. Yeah, I could have lost my job. Because if I, say these all bullshit things that really I didn't say anything like that, I said that I don't have the authority, guy asked the manager. And he asked for my name. I'm just saying that. He asked for my name before I left him because he wondered what my name was. I was wondering why he asked for my name. So he can use my name, that this guy say this and I can get this. Yeah, absolutely disgusting. So, yeah, greed is it's a really bad thing, and guys, don't do it. Just don't do these type of greedy stuff. So aside from that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time on World of Warships.